Hey everyone, Ruben here, it's Kindred.pdx. I had this in my head as I was on my way home from Jujitsu, and this idea that dog training is a progression, okay? Just like with everything else, I feel in life, everything is a progression, right? It's like you start your new job, you don't know anything, and you progress to being very knowledgeable in that position, right? Start off new, you're getting trained by somebody, and as the years go on, months, years, you just start to become more efficient at it, right? I was thinking about this with Jujitsu today, because my sensei was like, oh man, you're definitely showing improvement, it's noticing things getting better with what I'm doing right now. I'm still not able to put a choke on somebody almost unknowingly. I can get them if someone kind of helps me out, maybe gives me the elbow that I need, or but it's through that and all the drilling and everything that it starts to make more sense and things start to become more clear. And as I was thinking about this riding home, I was like, the same thing applies to dogs and dog training, right? You start out somewhere and you just work your way up. I think it's also important to have a goal in mind, where is your dog at now and where would you maybe like your dog to be? And if your end goal is hey, I want my dog to be able to go to the cafe with me, but at this point he's too busy trying to go after dog, he's maybe a friendly dog and he's always just trying to pull towards them, and he's pulling towards people all the time, and maybe those are the kinds of things that you're I don't know if I want to take them there, right? So if that's your goal, you got to take necessary steps to get your dog to that point, or get them really close to it, and all of that stuff starts really basic. You got to get a foundation in before you're trying to ask your dog to do all these things, right? It's just like with Jiu-Jitsu. I need a foundation of basics before I can get into more technical things, right? There's a few things that are they say beginner moves, but experts use them, right? So how beginner are they, right? It's because they're the foundation of the whole game. So with dogs and dog training, you need to have a firm, you do and the dog does, need to have a firm understanding of what the foundation is, right? It's all about leash pressure, how to turn pressure on, how to turn pressure off, what is expected in these certain areas, developing a foundation inside before moving outside. You think about the inside as kindergarten, and then as you move outside, you start to go into middle school and then high school and then college, and college could be the outdoor cafe, or the world, it's graduation is the outdoor cafe. It might take you a while to get there, it might take 6 months. It really depends on how much time you put into it. I wouldn't give yourself a time limit because, it's such as life, right? It's maybe if I was able to go to class every single day and hit both classes, and maybe I could get a blue belt super fast, right? But at this rate, I'm going almost every day. It's probably going to take a year and a half. Maybe even longer, who knows, right? But I can't get myself down because it's taking me that long to get there. It's just keep going day by day. You'll get better. Things will become more clear. And it's the same thing that goes with the dogs. It's first you start off inside and it's cool, hold it down as I walk around you. Okay, super simple. The dog aces it. Okay, and then it's all right, now we're gonna hold it down and we're gonna have dogs walk around you. Dog aces it. Okay, and now we're gonna have people and dogs, and now I'm gonna throw in toys, and now I'm gonna take you into this other space, into Lowe's, and we're gonna do this here, and now I'm gonna take you into more higher crowded areas, and it's little by little, you start to get better with your dog, reading the dog. You know, both of you just kind of progress, right? But you can, if you set yourself up for a time limit, you're almost setting yourself up to fail, because if you're like, oh, you know, in 3 months I want to get this to be done, or by summertime I want to do this because I want to go spend so much time at the cafe and I'm going to do all these cool things, you know, you're setting yourself up to fail, because if you don't reach that, you're gonna like feel down, and you're going to maybe question like, oh, can you do, you know, don't give yourself a time limit, just go day by day and see what you get, you know. It's not going to happen overnight, I can tell you that much. You might see a lot of cool, great things happen really fast, but as you move along, and the distractions and all of that stuff, things are going to just become more difficult. And you know, you are dealing with the dog, an animal, and they're not robots, so it's like things are always going to be challenging, right? You know, even master dog trainers probably have difficult days with their dogs, you know. It's a fact of life. And to think that everybody's perfect, and it's like, you know, if you look at trainers and maybe you follow some, and it's like, if you look at their dogs, they didn't just become like that, right? It was like they were on a plan, and, you know, they took necessary steps to get their dogs to where they want them to be, you know, in these high level obedience. And, you know, you see all this fancy stuff. It took a lot of work, right? They didn't just like get a puppy and it was like, oh cool, he just does all this stuff naturally. No, it's not the case. You know, for example, one of our dogs, she's 7 years old, you know, that's how long we've had her, and that's how much work we've put into her. 7 years worth of work, and every day we're still like working, you know. It might not be in the like sense of constant like drilling into this like we were a while ago, but every time she's out of her kennel, I'm giving direction in some way. At some point in time, I'm giving her direction, you know, and she does really well most of the time, but there are times when I have to give her direction, you know. That's just the way it is. And I'm sure it's the same thing that goes for like my sensei, who's a brown belt, and his sensei, who's a black belt. And it's just like, I'm sure he gets pointers. The brown belt gets pointers from the black belt, and, you know, it's just because he's a brown belt doesn't mean he knows everything. Obviously, because it's a brown belt, not a black belt. But the point is, it's just like, you're never going to be perfect at anything. You know, I don't think there is a such thing as a perfect. You can have really good things, you know, you can be really good at jiu-jitsu, but I don't think you'll ever be perfect at it. Just like you could have really good dogs, but they're not going to be perfect, right? So I was just thinking about that on my way back. You know, it's like enjoying this bike ride on this awesome day. And yeah, you know, so if you're out with your dog, or maybe you're watching this and you're like, oh, you know, I could work on some things with the dogs, but you don't know where to start, like, hit us up in the comments. Maybe we can give you an idea of where to go. Not necessarily hiring somebody, but like where to begin, right? I mean, sometimes when we have this like huge idea of what we want, it's hard for us to understand or to pinpoint, like, okay, where do we start? If I want to get here, where do I start? So if you have any questions about that, or, you know, are wondering like, hey, where do I start? Hit us up in the comments, and perhaps we can point you in the right direction. All right, so just gonna close this out with, like, you know, don't beat yourself up when your dog messes up, or if your dog's like not doing as well as you want them to. It's just like, just practice, take each day by day, and you know, really just put the work in. You know, you put the work in, results will follow. It has to, you know, unless you're not doing good work, you know, you're just like not trying, like, but then why would you be doing the work, right? You're trying, and that's why you're doing the work. So Anyways, hope this makes some sense. And anyways, enjoy the Monday, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.